Hello, and welcome to my home, or more specifically, my kitchen. My name is Tiffany, and I am the dyer and maker behind Latah lvfiberco. Today, I'm trying out a new to me dyeing technique, and I thought I would bring you along with me. Let's get started. Okay, so I've already prepped the yarn. I've scoured it with dish soap, and I've mordanted it with alum at 10% weight of fiber. This is a typical way that I dye my yarn. I put a ring on it for easy mobility and to be able to pull it in and out of the pots. I dye in big pots on my stove. So once I've prepped my yarn, I just stick it in there, bring it up to heat, set a timer, and away you go. But today, we're going to try a different technique. I'm going to hank up the yarn and place it in my dye pots and see what happens. Now I haven't really thought this through. Do I take the ring off? Do I leave the ring on? I think I'm going to take it off. We'll see how it goes. The problem with yarn when it's wet is that it tangles. But I'm going to attempt to dye it something like this. I've gone ahead and hanged these up on my skein winder so that they're a little tidier. Let's place them in our pots. Here's my pot that we'll be working with today. This is lac, which I've already used on a previous dye, but there's plenty of color left over. So let's see what happens. I'm going to turn my heat on to about 8, bring it up to temperature, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to dip it in. It's a bluish purple. Let's add the other skeins. So far, I'm just going to lay these in here so that they're not disturbed too much. I don't want them to come out of their neatly tied hanks. Okay. So we're going to bring this up to temperature and cook it for about 30 minutes. Hopefully that will pull the rest of the dye that's in this pot and distribute it somewhat not evenly throughout the skein. Okay, this has been cooking for about 10 minutes, so let's give it a check. Oh, it's beautiful. There's definitely different color variations. There's a purple and pink where the dye did not completely saturate. Oh, that's beautiful as well. So we'll see it for another 5 minutes probably cooked, and then we'll take it out and let it cool. It does look like most of the dye in the bath is exhausted. There's a little bit left, but not very much. So it's probably pretty much done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull these out of the heat. Almost all of the dye is exhausted. So I'm going to pull them out and let them cool in the sink. before rinsing. Okay, I'm going to retie these with hopefully more of this white showing. Okay, these are all re-skeined up. Let's go ahead and put them in the new dye bath. My new bath is sappanwood at 1% weight of fiber. Looks like it's picking up some pink tones on the white, so that could be fun. So again, we'll let that heat for about 30 minutes. Okay, so what I thought I would do, and I need to correct something earlier. This first went into an exhaust bath of sappanwood, which I mislabeled as lac. So this is both sappanwood. The first was an exhaust bath, the second is the first bath. What I'm going to do now is most of the color has seeped into the yarn, so now I'm going to pull it apart and lightly dye the remainder of the dye to the undyed yarn. So we're going to try that. As you can see, oh, it's very variegated. Pinks, dark purple, I love it. Okay, so we're going to pull this apart. I am going to add, not prepped, I'm going to add back my my rings so that it doesn't get tangled. Ooh, that one's pretty too. Now you can see that on the inside there is still quite a bit of the white left. So hopefully it will take what's left that's in the dye pot and just kind of lightly dye it. So maybe it'll be pinkish. Oh man, this one's a little tangled. Or a lot tangled. That does tend to happen. Okay, there we go. And there are 5 skeins in here. So oh, it's beautiful though. The tonal effect is just gorgeous. I love all the variations of purple that this process has given. Okay, I've got one more in here. Yep. So while I am doing this, I also started another process with different dye, not the purple, actually yellow. So I'm going to do green. Okay, so I'm going to open this up so that all the white is dyed as well. And we will let this sit in here for 10 minutes. I'll check it in 10 minutes. So see how this is very white? I'll leave it in there and it should take up the rest of the dye, although again, there's not a whole lot in there, but I am liking it. So this process used the same dye, just different processes of it, the exhaust of a previous dye, then the fresh dye, and now I'm just dipping with what's left. So it's interesting. I do like the variegated. It's definitely more time consuming because you've got to go through all the different process, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to leave that in there. It's going to soak up. The bare yarn that's in there is going to soak up what's left of the dye, and we will go from there. So 10 more minutes. Okay, I am multitasking for the 10 minutes that's in there. I am going to take out this beautiful yellow. I'm going to rinse it, just squeeze it out, re-skein it, or rewind it. Oh, it's a beautiful yellow though. I actually like that a lot. But the goal is to do a moss and yellow. So, oh, that's actually kind of a golden yellow. That's really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to re-skein these and put them back in the pot with more dye. trying to speed the process along because it does take a while. This process takes a lot of different steps and can make it very lengthy, and I don't want it to end up that way overall. So I'm going to, so the goal with this one is to put it in an iron after bath, and so I'll have the golden yellow and the moss green, which will be great. I have 5 skeins of this as well. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, and I'm going to go skein these up on my skein winder, because that goes a little faster and a little more even. Okay, so this is what it looks like re-skeined up. There's some white available to see. I am just going to dip it back in there to absorb what's remaining of the dye, which isn't a whole lot. I'll have to check it to see if I need to add more. Okay, when I was putting back in the yellow yarn into the pot, most of the dye was exhausted. So I am making another batch, same weight of fiber, 1%, and putting that into the dye pot to finish the dyeing process. Okay, so the yellow is Himalayan rhubarb, which if you put in an afterbath of iron turns green. So that's what I'm hoping is green and yellow. Now, it's been 10 minutes since the sappanwood has set in there. So I'm going to rinse that, and hopefully all the white has absorbed the rest of the dye that's in the pot. And hopefully this technique worked. I'm definitely seeing a little bit lighter, maybe some pink or some lavender. So that could be fun. And there's definitely the darker bits as well. So let's get to rinsing and we'll see what we have. Tangly, so let's see what we can get here. Okay. Okay, one thing I'm noticing is that when rinsing, there's not actually a whole lot of color leaching out, so that's excellent. I really think most of the color is in the yarn, which is perfect. So I'll finish rinsing these and then we'll soak them in soap. Okay, we will let that soak for about 10 minutes. And then I'll rinse and hang it to dry behind me. So the fun thing about this process, it definitely looks variegated. Most of the color has adhered to the yarn, the various colors. Now I used sappanwood in different stages to create the different colors, which is really cool. I do like that effect a lot. And so we'll see what it looks like after a bit. Okay, I have rinsed out the soap from the yarn, and this is what it looks like. It's variegated. It has dark purple in spots, and lavender in spots, and light pink in spots. So I absolutely love it. It would be a fantastic sweater or a hat. So I've got 5 skeins of this, which I'm very excited about. So the next step is to let it dry, and then we'll skein it up. Next, I'm gonna hang this up to dry, and then I'm gonna deal with the yellow by putting it in an iron bath and changing it to green. So stay tuned for that. Okay, the purple variegated is hung up and drying. That will take about 3 days. The dye in the yellow has completely absorbed into the yarn. So I'm going to process it with an iron bath. You do that while it's cooling. So I'm going to dump the yarn. Actually, I'm going to dump the water that the yarn is in into my bin. Add the iron and then add the yarn. Let's get started. Okay, let's add the iron. Now this does need to be more on the acidic side, so I'm going to check the pH and add acidic . Okay, this is more neutral, so I'm going to need to add some acidity. And I do that by adding citric acid. Check the pH level again. That's better. So it's looking about a 9. I am going to add a little bit more acidity to it. water is still hot, so it's mixing well. Okay, let's add a skein of yarn and see what we get. Perfect. It's already changing colors. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the yarn. Add the rest of the liquid. Okay, I'm going to let this set for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to come back, check the acidity level, and maybe add more iron as needed. We'll see how it goes. You kind of continue adding your iron until you get the color of green that you want. So we'll see how it goes. I would like pretty dark green, but that's part of the process. So I'll meet you back here in about 30 minutes. Okay, it has been an hour, and I've worked with this pot multiple times trying to get it to shift, and it's done. It's done shifting. It didn't quite go as green as I was hoping, but let's see what we have. Well, it definitely has some golden tones with the yellow, and then some brown, not quite green. So it's not shifting anymore, so I will just go ahead and rinse. Okay, I am not too keen on this color, so I'm going to attempt to over dye it. We'll see what I can come up with. Now the real question is, what am I going to over dye this with? Okay, I've added another color, this time buckthorn berry. Now, I'm hoping it will pull brown. This color will not be able to be duplicated, mainly because I've done too many steps to get the desired color that I thought I wanted, but never got. I was hoping for moss green. I got yellow and brownish. So now I don't like those colors together. So now I'm over dyeing the colors that I got with the buckthorn berry to hopefully get brown all over. So we'll see I'm going to cook it for about 30 minutes, bring it up to temperature, cook it for 30 minutes, and then I'll show you the results of that. Okay, I have finished up my dyeing with buckthorn berry, and then that wasn't enough dye, so I added in the Himalayan rhubarb. Let's see what we got. So far, it's looking pretty green. Let's start rinsing. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this dyeing experience. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I'm gonna let this wash one more time before I hang it up to dry. And if you come back tomorrow for my weekly vlog number 4, I'll have a reveal for you. See you then.